episode 126, Managing Your Emotions. Welcome to the First Year Married podcast, where we get real about building the marriage of your dreams. I'm marriage coach Kayla Levin, and I take newly married and engaged women from anxious and insecure to confident and connected through practical tips, real-life inspiration, and more than a little self-awareness along the way. Hi, my friends. I have some announcements for you this week. I am so excited to share this with you. Okay, so I'm going to give you some announcements, but I am really excited. I want to make sure you stick around and hear this episode about managing your emotions. This is something that's come up so many times. I was able to speak for an organization this week, and it came up in my coaching calls, and it came up in my mastermind, and it's a skill that cannot be undervalued. It's not just to make you feel better. It's to create the life that you really want. So stick around for managing your emotions. But first, I'm going to tell you all the good, fun goodies that are coming up. I am so excited. All right. Oh, gosh, which one to tell you first? We'll start here. One of the things that I hear the most from people who are referring my podcast or are referring my coaching is that the conversation sounds like this. And if you don't believe me, go check all my reviews on iTunes. It's not just for newlyweds. No, really, you should listen. I know it's called First Year Married, but it's for you too. You should just listen, even if you've been married longer. And the truth is that the vast majority of the women that I work with at this point are beyond their first year of marriage. Some of you started listening to the podcast in your first year, and guess what? You're not in your first year of marriage anymore. So this has been something that's been brewing, that's been in the works for a while, and we're ready to take the next step, which means we are rebranding. Yikes, this is so exciting. It's going to be all the same amazing content. I will always have a place in my heart for newlyweds. We will always be coming back to newlyweds, but I am here to show up and serve Jewish women, Jewish married women. We're going to be focusing a lot on marriage here, but I want to make it more applicable to more seasons of life. And so the new name of the podcast, as you will see, Mirz Hashem, next week when it comes out, is going to be How to Glow. Why? I'm so excited about this name. Because working on your marriage, I've seen more and more, the more women that I work with, has so much to do with working on everything. When we access our power, when we access our potential, when we get our emotions mastered, when we start to achieve what we really truly believe we can in this world, which it's such an honor to work with Jewish women because the goals that you have are so deep and meaningful and inspiring. When that happens, we just become like, I call it the happy charging station. It's like everyone just wants to be in our orbit. We have so much extra. It's not necessarily energy. We're not necessarily taking on more jobs. We're just in such emotional alignment that it's just a pleasure to be around us, right? And that shows up in our marriages. It shows up in how we navigate challenges. It shows up in our workplace. It shows up in our parenting. It shows up in our health. It shows up everywhere. I'm really excited about this name, How to Glow, because a person who is glowing, the image that I have in my mind, is somebody who still feels the whole range of human emotion, who still has days where she's sad, but there's an alignment there. There's a reality there. There's like an authenticity that's going on with her. She knows that she's able to live at the highest level, which includes the good days and the bad days. Now that you are, Mirz Hashem, sharing the podcast with your friends and letting them know about it, just give them a heads up to look for it under the name How to Glow. And with that preview, I have my even more exciting announcement, because really it's just a name. I mean, it's a whole focus change, but it's just a name. But the thing that I have been wanting to produce for years and wanted to make sure that I was exactly in the perfect place as a coach, as a business owner, in my own self-coaching, in my own self-work, is finally here. And this Hanukkah, I will be launching the How to Glow membership. This is a program that makes coaching accessible to you no matter your budget. This is a program that you can pay for on a monthly basis, and you will have access. You don't have to make the commitment to be there in the middle of your workday. You can listen to call recordings. You can submit questions outside of the times of the calls. This is a group that's going to grow. It's going to become a culture revolution, because so many times I've had clients say to me, like, how do I share this? I want my friends to have this. I want to be able to talk to friends who are working on themselves in a deep way. And this makes this available. This makes this work available to so many more women. I am so excited over the course of the next year to welcome hundreds of women into this community. And of course, I want to start with the podcast listeners who are the most knowledgeable and the most advanced in the work. But even if you're brand new, I have all the basics spelled out inside the program. I'm designing some amazing goodies in there. You'll be hearing about that over the next couple weeks leading up to Hanukkah. But just keep in mind, if you ask for Hanukkah presents, I might have an idea for you. Okay. And also, if you're not on my email list, that's the best way to make sure to know when the doors open, because I will not be leaving them open all the time. The doors will be open at the end of the month, at the end of November. So I want to make sure that you are able to join when doors are open. You don't miss your opportunity. So just go to it'sstillfirstyearmarried.com as of the recording of this podcast to make sure you're on the email list. And then you'll also get the marriage check-in, which is super amazing. Okay. So I hope you are as excited as I am. I cannot wait to see you guys in there. I can't wait to just take this community to the next level. I mean, this is going to be some pretty incredible stuff. And for me, it's just absolutely a dream come true to be able to bring this to the community in a much, much bigger, more powerful way. But I want to talk to you today about managing emotions. I'm actually going to tell you what this whole series is going to be. I have a 4-part series planned for you. And these are the 4 fundamental skills of glowing, really. I mean, it's not necessarily how I organize everything about glowing, but these are the 4 fundamental skills of kind of like self-mastery, right? Of that feeling that you are the one driving the boat, not your emotions, not your circumstances, not life, not all the other people in your life, but you are the one in control. You know that feeling when you feel like you're like not thrashing around in the waves, you're kind of surfing them, right? That's the energy that I want for you. And I have the 4 main skills that are going to help you get there, especially in your marriage, but really these apply to everywhere in your life. And the first skill is managing your emotions. I think emotions get a bad rap. I know that for myself, I'm a very cerebral, I've been described as type A, type personality. And when people want to talk to me about emotions, I mean, I just like really my first instinct was no, sorry, that's for other people. I mean, in the same way, kind of when it comes to body work, and I had to really learn about the importance of the body from academic perspective before I was kind of willing to come along and hear it from the people who actually know their stuff, right? And it's kind of the same thing with emotions, right? We tend to think of emotions as unnecessary, as excessive, as some people do. And I want you to know that it's really a mistake. Knowing where your emotions are coming from, even if it's the emotion of judgment about somebody else's emotions, right? Knowing where your emotions come from and what to do about them allows you to literally accomplish whatever you set your mind to. And here's why. When we don't do something that we set our mind to, the reason is there's an emotion that we are avoiding. There is something we're trying not to feel. I gave the example recently in my email, so you might have seen this, about my goal that I had of spending the afternoon with my children without my smartphone. So as you know, I have a kosher phone and a smartphone. My smartphone's really for work, and my goal is to keep it in my office when my kids are around. My office is in my house. It's very easy to just go and grab it, right? And I just found myself now just migrating just suddenly in the office when I had set my mind that these hours are smartphone free time, right? I just was in the office. I was holding my smartphone or I was on my computer and I was like, what is happening here? So I asked myself the question, what is the emotion I would have to feel to sit with my children that I'm trying not to feel by going and doing this other thing? And the answer was boredom. Because the truth is that much of the time we are not engaged in high-level intellectual conversation or DMCs. Most of the time, I just need to be available and I just need to be there and I need to answer questions and maybe help them get organized and move on to the next thing and hear a story that takes 45 minutes for them to tell me about one tiny little thing that happened in their day. But the truth is that that's my value. That is how I want to show up for them in the afternoon. That's what I chose for myself. And so I wasn't able to achieve the goal that was mine. It was my authentic goal. It was how I wanted to show up because I wasn't willing to feel bored. When I identified that, my decision was it's time to make friends with boredom. It's time to get used to boredom. It's time to find out what it feels like. And I literally mean in my body, what does it feel like to be bored? And so I sat by my kids. I think I was even like standing near the stairs, watching them play. And I felt the urge to go get my phone. And I was like, nope, instead of my phone, I'm just going to notice what boredom feels like in my body. And I just turned my attention to where in my body I was feeling boredom, and it was in my chest, and it was extremely tight, and it was very uncomfortable, right? I was still kind of resisting it, I think, because the next time I did boredom, it was not nearly as uncomfortable. And I managed about 3 seconds, and then I think I just had to go do something else. And then the next day I was like, okay, I did 3 seconds yesterday. Let me just try again. And I did it again, and I experienced boredom, and then boredom kind of moved on. And then I just was there with my kids without this really strong emotion threatening me. Like, it wasn't a problem once I allowed myself to just say, like, okay, boredom, it's just a vibration in my body. It's just a sensation that I'm experiencing. It's just here. That's okay. If I get a headache, I don't like have a fit about that. I'm like, oh, it's annoying. I have a headache, right? Same idea. Just kind of feel stuff in my body going on. And then I was able to sit and be present with my children. This is true for everything. If there's a job that you want to apply for, if there is a way you want to be showing up with your husband, if there's a way you want to be showing up with your children or with your health or any other thing, how about your davening? Think about what it is you really want and consider what emotion would you need to be willing to feel to achieve that goal. And I'm telling you that when you are willing to get comfortable with any emotion, then you won't have resistance to your goals anymore. I've seen this over the last several years when my business has really, really taken off, that I had a lot of anxiety about exposure and feeling very visible, and that didn't feel like very natural for me. And I could feel each time, okay, but this is what I'm willing to feel because this information is invaluable and it is life-changing. And because I know it, I feel a responsibility to share it with my community. So here comes the anxiety again. Oh, great. New speaking engagement. And here's the anxiety. Oh, really, really big speaking engagement. Here it is again. And I'm willing to feel all of it because I know it's just a sensation and it's not a problem. And it's completely worth it in pursuit of my goal. So I just want to break it down for you into simple steps so you know what it is. I want you to think about one specific goal. You can repeat this process later, but choose just one for now. What is one goal you have? Is it you want to daven Shemona Esrei in the morning? Is it that you want to not say something to your husband when he doesn't daven Shemona Esrei in the morning? These are two I coach on quite often, if that makes you feel any better. Is it something to do with work or parenting or marriage or health? Those are often ones that come up. Choose one very specific thing and think about where you're having resistance, where you're not following through. You're not following your calendar, or you're not following your plan, or you're not willing to sit down and make a plan. Where is the resistance coming up for you? And then you ask yourself, if I were to do it anyway, what emotion would I have to feel? Now be very careful. This is different than the model. I'm not saying what nice, positive, motivating emotion would make you do those things, because I can work on feeling inspired or connected to my children, so I'll be with them. But I have to deal with the boredom piece first, because that's there, right? So there's a negative emotion that you're avoiding. Otherwise, you wouldn't be avoiding the activity. And no, the activity can't put that emotion in you. It's absolutely coming from your thoughts about the activity. But this is like 2.0, guys. We're taking this a little bit deeper. Think about what emotion would I have to feel to do it anyway, even with this resistance, and you will find a negative emotion. It might be boredom, it might be anxiety, it might be fear, it might be insecurity, it might be vulnerability. Identify that emotion for yourself. What's my goal? Where's the resistance? What's the emotion I need to be willing to feel? And then I want you to commit to feeling that feeling today for 3 seconds. Literally drop into your body and describe it as if you were trying to tell a robot what anxiety feels like. You don't tell him all the stories because that doesn't make him understand an emotion, right? You say to him, anxiety happens in your shoulders. It's different for everyone, right? Anxiety might happen in your shoulders, and it might feel like a cold, steely tensing in the back of your back, in the back of your neck. Just describe it. If you can only pick one adjective or one characteristic in your body at a time, fine. The next day, push for 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Then maybe you can do 9, then maybe 15. The good news is most emotions are going to pass within 90 seconds. So you won't have to just keep going until you're feeling anxious all day. Because if you allow it by just relaxing into it, the emotion can work through you. It can show up, it knows that it's been acknowledged, and then it can go away. The energy is like this. The energy is the difference between being on a diet and walking past a pizza shop, or let's say there's a pizza on your kitchen counter and you've decided you don't eat pizza right now for your health reasons, and you're resisting, like, I don't want to, that's how we normally are with our emotions. Like, don't eat the pizza, right? Don't feel angry. Like, okay, I know I'm angry right now. I can see the pizza. I can see the anger, but I'm pushing it away. Note that in those situations, you end up eating the pizza or acting out your anger, right? That resistance isn't going to work. What's the alternative? You pass the pizza. You smell the pizza. You are drooling and your stomach is rumbling. You love pizza, but you just ate chicken wings. There's a releasing there. There's a moment, even you flacciophobes, of like, oh, that pizza smells amazing. I totally desire that pizza right now. I'm not going to be eating it, but I can feel the desire, and the desire is not a problem. I can allow my tummy to rumble. I can allow my mouth to respond. I can allow myself to kind of want it because I'm not worried I'm going to act out on it. I'm just allowing the desire to be there. And then it kind of moves on and you're like, okay, what was I doing? This is how I want you to process your emotions. Okay. It's like a relaxing. It's a releasing. This is just a sensation. It is not a problem. And if you can only do it for 3 seconds in the beginning, perfectly fine. You will find that if you are able to do this exercise, whatever blocks you've had in your way will dissolve because the activity is not your block. Your block is just the emotion you're not yet willing to feel. And you can make friends with any emotion there is. Okay, my friends, I cannot wait to be opening the doors, to be welcoming you in, to be able to coach you live, answer your questions live, take this so much further, so much deeper. I also have some really exciting courses inside the program. It's going to be amazing. In the meantime, I'll be back next week talking about being in your own lane, which is the second skill for self-mastery that you're just going to love. Okay, have an amazing week. Go feel those feelings. Okay, bye-bye.